We're live, man. Hey,
Okay.
let's go. It's exciting. We're here. We're here.
Welcome everybody to another episode
that your
of
thing?
Madden. What? What
That's
do you
your
mean?
thing?
What's my thing?
That's
Just
your thing.
starting a little early?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
you know what? I mean, I wanted to get out the gate early, you know? That's crazy. So guys, welcome to another episode of Madden Daily Drops, Madden 20 edition. We're here to talk about Superstar X Factors. Really excited about that. How you been, man?
I've been good. I've been good. You know, the community's really excited. Last week we went over franchise, and we have a full schedule of these streams coming up. So I know people are really looking forward next week to Ultimate Team, and then we'll have gameplay part 2. But tonight it's gameplay part 1. This is Superstar X Factor. We have 2 developers coming out tonight, a fan favorite developer and Clint. So he will be out to break this down. And well, the goal of this is to really, tell you about what Superstar X Factor is, kind of break things down, ultimately get your questions and your feedback on that. And then as we move into EA Play, that's where we're going to show you more about Superstar X Factor. But tonight, we want to just do these to give you context around everything new in Madden. We'll have a blog go live tonight with a breakdown of Superstar X Factor, the things we talk about. And then tomorrow, there'll be another Gridiron Notes piece where we'll actually break down your questions and talk a little bit more about it. So that's why we do these. If you're new to the stream, we do go live every day. But these are special nighttime streams where we actually break those things down. We kind of relax, we kind of have fun. It's a good time, and that's what you should be seeing here. We're in the hallway here at Tiburon. Everyone's still working really late. They're just served dinner, so everyone's kind of moving around. Like, it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be light, and Agent K is going to walk you all through that here as your community manager. So we're really excited. I'm going to get out of here in a second. But Agent K, what else you got to add?
Yeah, so once the stream is, at the end of the stream, we're gonna throw out a survey for you guys to let us know how we're doing, how we're communicating to you guys. One of the things we hear from our core all the time is that they want information early and often, and they also want a little bit more context. Content is king, but context is queen. So at the end of the day, that's what this show is about: is giving you guys some context regarding Madden 20 and answering those questions. I'm really excited. I mean, last week's stream was great. A lot of the feedback that we got from the community, the questions that they had, we were able to meet with the developers, answer them the next day in the morning, and whatnot. So it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's get the folks out here that know best, the actual developers of our game. I'm going to head out, and we'll see you very shortly with Clint Oldenburg.
Great stuff. We are back. We got Clint Oldenburg, one of our senior designers on the gameplay team. Really excited to have you here, Clint, tonight on Madden Daily Drops, and we're going to talk a little bit about Superstar X Factors. So,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and just, get to it real quick here. Superstar X Factors, what are they?
Great question. Superstar X Factors is a group, actually 2 groups of very special players. These are guys that take over NFL games, the star-driven league of the NFL. These are guys like our cover boy, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Donald from the Rams, Alvin Kamara, Juju from the Steelers. These are the elite NFL superstars that can do things that the rest of us wish we could do.
Okay, awesome. And help me understand, like, why are we doing Superstar X Factors?
Yeah, so the main purpose is to make stars feel like stars, and with that comes diversifying gameplay strategy. De-homogenizing the experience, making players have to rely on different strategies based on the players they have on their team and the players they're playing against, and to really make these guys feel like themselves and bring that wow factor that they bring to the NFL field. And the ways that we're doing that is through what we call superstar abilities and zone abilities. So when I talked about the 2 groups of players, there's the X Factors. That's going to be a group of 50 players, the most elite players in the league. And they have special abilities that they use on the field. But in addition to those special abilities, they also have a zone ability. These players are going to be able to earn that zone ability via in-game objectives. That's going to give them a special power that could be countered by the defense via their own in-game objective. And then there's a subset, another group of players, total number to be determined, probably fluid through most of the year. they're going to have superstar abilities, but they're not going to have the zone ability.
Okay.
And these superstar abilities are things that are always available to these players. They're going to be used situationally, and we're going to go into some of those details here in a minute, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned superstar X Factor players. They have these zone abilities. Can you talk a little bit about, what those are? I mean, I know we saw one of them in one of the articles where they highlighted Bazooka, right? And I think
Yeah.
we should probably use that as a great example to kind of tee into this. Bazooka, what is that?
Bazooka is Patrick Mahomes' zone ability.
Okay.
So once he meets his in-game objective, which is yet to be determined in terms of tuning, but it's, for example, going to be complete a certain number of passes during the game that are for 30 or 40 yards or more, then his maximum pass distance is going to be increased to an extra 15 yards roughly, so about 80 yards.
Okay.
Our default max pass distance in game is and has been 70. He's going to get an extra 10 to 15 yards on top of that. And he's actually on record as saying the furthest that he's ever thrown the ball is 83 yards. So we're actually a little short from the 83 yards. But what's important are these things have to be earned. They can be countered. He can be taken out of the zone via a sack, a fumble, an interception. Then he'll lose that ability. And you can earn and knock out multiple times over the course of a season. These are meant to be special moments that these players bring up in the NFL. So that's a great example of a zone ability.
Okay. I've heard a few things thrown around the office. I've heard some other names thrown out there, so I'll name some real quick for you, and you can kind of talk a little bit about what they are. What kind of gets the player in the zone and what you can do to get them out of the zone. I heard like rack 'em up is one of those flying around here in the office.
Yeah, rack 'em up is the zone ability for rack catch, essentially rack catch specialist. This player is going to excel at using the rack catch mechanic. And when he's making rack catches, if he's single covered while in the zone, he is going to be very successful at catching contested catches and hanging on first hits when using rack catch. And again, that's something that player is going to have to earn via in-game objectives, make a certain number of catches for a certain amount of yardage, and also be able to get knocked out by the defense. Either, you could go for a user interception if you want to lurk, or you can do a catch tackle knockout, knock the ball out, cause a drop or an incompletion. That's another way to knock that guy out of the zone.
Got it. Another one that I heard was first one free.
First one free. Yeah, that's a running back zone ability. So if you get a set amount of rushes for a good amount of yards, let's, for example, say you're going to need 4 rushes for 45 yards to get in the zone or something like that, then your next attempt at a juke spin or hezi move is going to give you a very high chance of a fake out. Again, same thing. First one free can be knocked out if you tackle that ball carrier for a loss of yards or cause a fumble via hit stick. He will lose his zone ability and then have to re-earn that over the course of the game or the next game.
Got it. And I know one of the things you mentioned kind of earlier was that you guys are still doing tuning on a lot of these things based off of just information I'm assuming you're getting from play test and just kind of people here playing in the studio and whatnot. Is that correct?
Yeah, all of the zone criteria, what we are currently referring to as triggers and knockouts, that's still very fluid and things that are being locked down as we finalize the game.
Cool. Well, the last one I heard, and it's kind of funny, is fearmonger. That was one of the in the zone abilities that I kind of heard going through the hallway. Probably because Scant was walking by, and I'm like, man, that guy definitely strikes the fear of God in you when he's walking down the hall. But yeah, so talking about fearmonger.
Fearmonger is one of our pass rusher abilities, and this also is going to come with a little bit of a gameplay teaser, which I know we're not diving too deep into tonight, but we have redone how pressure from the pass rush impacts our quarterback. We've overhauled that space, and with that comes this new ability called Fearmonger. When this player is in the zone, he's going to be able to apply pressure penalties to the quarterback from a further distance, and also while engaged in a block, which is going to be the only way you're going to be able to apply pressure to the quarterback when engaged with a blocker.
Okay. So we talked about zone abilities. Let's talk about the superstar abilities, right? One of them I heard around here was escape artist, and it's something that just for the folks that we're talking about these right now. Once we're done walking through some of these superstar abilities, we're going to go ahead and actually show you guys our cover athlete, what his zone abilities are, what are his superstar abilities, so that you guys can have some context in regards to what's going on here. But let's talk about superstar abilities. I've heard escape artists out there. What is escape artist?
Yeah, that's another popular one here in our internal testing. But before we get into the details, I want to make clear the difference between superstar abilities and zone abilities. So, like I said, zone abilities are something you have to earn with an in-game objective, and those objectives are going to be dynamic based on the game style you're playing on. So they're going to be harder on competitive than they are arcade. Superstar abilities are always available and going to be used situationally. So now we can jump into fast break. Escape artist. We'll cover fast break in a second. So escape artist is the scramble ability used on mobile quarterbacks. And this is going to give those players elite speed and agility when scrambling on passing plays behind the line of scrimmage. These things are going to be there the entire game. You don't have to earn them. You can't knock them out of that. But there are going to be counters built in. Another gameplay teaser. So we did a lot of work on QB contain, and that is the counter to this ability. So if you want to keep this really fast guy in the pocket, like Lamar Jackson, you're going to want to use your QB contains. You're going to want to use your QB spies. And there's also going to be an increased risk of fumbling with these scrambling quarterbacks.
Got it. Okay. Fast break. I know you talked about that just recently. Before we went ahead and talked about escape artists. What's going on with fast break?
Yeah, fast break is pretty cool as well. It's the running version of escape artist. So on designed quarterback run plays, and that's important because, like I said, these are situational. So you're going to need a playbook that supports the type of players you have on your team.
Okay.
On designed quarterback run plays, the fast break ability is going to give the quarterback immediate ball carrier control, meaning the second that you receive the snap, you can go any direction you want. You're not going to be locked into the direction of the play. You can run left, right, outside, inside. And because of that ability, that's going to give a delay in the read and react time of the defense. So it's going to allow you a little bit more time to decide which lane you want to run through. And again, the same type of counters are there. You're going to have a higher risk of fumble. You're going to also drain your stamina while doing these things. We're about to talk about another one coming up soon, so I'm not going to ruin that one, but keep going.
Yeah, so Slot-O-Matic was one of the other ones I heard about superstar abilities. It recently changed. So one of the things we talked about last stream was we had these names that were out there and we're telling people don't get too attached to the names. Yeah. So this was one that recently went through a name change, yes. Which is Slot-O-Matic. Talk to me a little bit about Slot-O-Matic and kind of what is that counter right there.
Yeah, Slot-O-Matic is our slot machine specialist ability, and it does a number of things, but the most important thing is that this ability is only going to work on a receiver when he's aligned in the slot. So Julian Edelman, I think you'd mentioned him earlier, he has the Slot-O-Matic ability. If you have him aligned out wide, he's not going to get any of those advantages as he would when he's in the slot. Some of those advantages are he's going to get elite cuts when running routes. He's also going to be very reliable at catching contested passes when running short routes from the slot. So we're talking about drags, hitches, curls, things like that. Utilizing these players to their strengths are what are going to allow our players to get the most out of them and diversify each player to make them feel special.
Got it. I really like that. The whole idea here is to make the players feel special and authentic at the end of the day, that they're playing like these NFL superstars, which is really cool. The next thing is Enforcer.
Flying in a quick question for you. Across all game modes?
Great question. That's a great question. Yep.
Charles.
Yeah, so I'm assuming someone in the chat brought that up. When it comes down to game modes, how do these abilities work across the board?
That is a great question, and that is one of the great things about the way that we built this feature is these are going to be used in a unique way across all of our modes. So they're going to be used in Ultimate Team via the player upgrades that you've grown accustomed to, with a lot of new cool stuff that we are going to reveal at a different time. Obviously, what we're talking about is for regs and base rosters. Mm-hmm. And then as you jump into franchise, you're going to take those in with you on that roster. But what I'm really excited about inside of franchise is you're going to be able to use these things as a progression tool to build your team. Okay. And also through the draft, there's going to be players that you're going to have to scout and find that are going to have the ability to earn superstar abilities and zone abilities and become X factors. That's going to bring some differentiation into that mode as well through these abilities. So there's going to be more details coming on all of that stuff in upcoming blogs and streams. Okay. So I don't want to give up too much, but great question from Farrells over there and the chat as well.
Chat. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate that. Farrells, man of the people, is out there lurking the chat, making sure we answer some of these questions live, some of the feedback that we got last week from you guys. So last but not least, superstar ability. Let's talk about Enforcer, and then we'll go ahead and give people an example of our cover athlete, like what's going on with his zone abilities
Yeah.
and his superstar abilities.
Enforcer's another cool ability. It's a defensive ability, and very simply will not allow broken hit sticks. So when you're using this player, regardless of the size or speed of the player that he's hit sticking, guy Bobby Wagner has this, Harrison Smith from the Vikings. Currently, again, all fluid, not set in stone, but when you hit stick with this player, he's not going to allow broken hit stick tackles.
Got it. So at the end of the day, just remember for my life.
Yeah. Avoid this player.
Yeah.
So Scan's standing in the background right now. He wants me to mention something, so I'll mention for him. Another teaser for gameplay. We're doing gameplay here in a couple weeks, but we've also reworked how hit sticks work. So there's more broken hit sticks globally. We're really focusing on the ratings matchup and the weight and the momentum of the players in hit sticks, which is going to make abilities like this more valuable. So you're going to want the Enforcer if you're a big hit stick player. Otherwise, you do risk having more broken hit sticks when attempting that tackle.
Great stuff, man. So, okay, well, you know what? I think a lot of people are wondering, okay, how does this kind of come into play when you're actually looking at an athlete? We're going to go ahead and pull up a graphic that we have right here of Patrick Mahomes, our Madden 20 cover athlete, and we're going to go ahead and walk through each of his in the zone, zone abilities, and then we're also going to go ahead and look at his superstar abilities. So we have him right here. First off, he has bazooka. So we talked about that earlier in the broadcast.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and reiterate again exactly what does bazooka do and kind of what are the things that get him in the zone and out of the zone.
Yep, like we said earlier, bazooka is going to allow him to throw an 80-yard pass by increasing his max pass distance. So you're going to be able to unlock that via an in-game objective, and that objective might look something like 4 or 5 completed passes for 30 or more yards on each completion. The defense can knock you out of the zone by getting a sack, a fumble, or an interception. One thing I want to note about bazooka is initially, just like many of us internally, there's probably some like, whoa, 80-yard pass, that sounds weird. It's situational again, right? In order to get an 80-yard pass, you need to be inside your own 25. You need to get time to throw the pass. You're going to need a receiver that's going to be able to get that deep before you get sacked. The teaser, pass rush may not facilitate you getting that pass off a lot. So you're going to want to use these things strategically, and they're meant to change the way that you play both offense and defense.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, I think there's a lot of feedback that we heard from folks. At the end of the day, it's not something that you're always going to get. You got to be very tactical in how you're using these zone abilities.
Yes.
And it's something that you really have to scheme and plan against. So let's go ahead and take a quick look as well at Patrick Mahomes' superstar abilities. We see he also has. Give me 1 second here.
Dashing Deadeye. I got you, man. Okay, so yeah, one of his superstar abilities, which is going to be available to him in every game that he plays in, is Dashing Deadeye, and that is perfect pass accuracy when on the run. The counter to this is obviously putting pressure on him, so you're going to see a theme once you start to read more about our abilities. A lot of the passing abilities are known as some form of Deadeye, and the counter to those Deadeye abilities is putting pressure on the quarterback, so that adds value to the abilities that allow defenders to put extra pressure on the quarterback. I also already mentioned QB Contain. And then there's some edge rush abilities that I think are going to be pretty popular in keeping players in the pocket. But perfect passing accuracy on the run is just like what it says. We have different levels of accuracy in our game in terms of throwing a pass. And so when you're throwing on the run with Patrick Mahomes, which is something that he really excels at
for sure
in real life, he's going to have an extra level of accuracy that nobody else has in that situation.
In the spirit of dashing Deadeye, I also know he has like a red zone Deadeye and a no look Deadeye. Can we talk about both of those superstar abilities?
Yep, we'll go through these real quick. So red zone Deadeye, very similar to the other one. It's perfect pass accuracy when you're inside the red zone. Same counters as dashing Deadeye. When you're inside the 20-yard line going in, you don't have to worry about throwing inaccurate passes as long as you are not throwing from an under pressure state, and you can do that both while on the run or inside the pocket. And then no look Deadeye. This one truly right now is exclusive to Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be the only player in the game that can throw perfect passing accuracy on cross-body throws. Now, I know our community is going to hear that, and they're going to raise a little bit of an eyebrow, especially coming off of a very high-level Mike Vick year
for sure.
Inside of Ultimate Team. So we also reworked how our passing accuracy works in game, and it's extremely difficult to complete a pass when throwing those on-the-run cross-body throws. You're going to get a lot more inaccurates in that case and other things that we're going to talk about at a later time. But this ability is going to allow him to do that.
Awesome.
Also exclusive to Patrick Mahomes, when you're making crossbody throws, you are going to be able to trigger his signature no-look animation on that throw, and that is going to be only for Patrick Mahomes. So the ability will be able to be used by other players inside a franchise and Ultimate Team, but Patrick Mahomes specifically will have the ability to do a no-look.
That's awesome, and I know that when Greg will come on shortly, he'll talk a little bit about kind of making our players, appear authentic in game, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I also know Patrick Mahomes has that escape artist that we talked about a little bit earlier, which you went ahead and talked through some of those superstar abilities right there. But yeah, man, anything else you want to add regarding zone abilities, superstar abilities? Any parting words for the audience?
The thing that I think is most important for us to note about Superstar X Factors is they're meant to bring authenticity to the game. They're meant to separate the elite players from everybody else and give you that emotional connection to your favorite players. They're meant to replicate these guys who take over the games on Sundays, the guys that we watch football to watch play. It's bringing a level of authenticity that transcends what we've been used to in terms of what ratings brings to the game.
For sure.
They're a really nice complement to ratings to get the outcomes that you're really expecting from superstar players. And also, I hate to bring the word up, but it also decreases RNG when you have these elite players. You're getting outcomes that we're saying, hey, you do this situation, you know exactly what you're going to get because you have this good player.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, Clint, for coming through, giving the context.
Yeah, man.
Just being utterly transparent and kind of giving us a little hint into what's coming in gameplay on 523 Part 2. Clint will be back to kind of give more context on what we're doing in gameplay, what's going on with playbooks, all that kind of great stuff. So, again, Clint, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Hey everybody, we're back with we have another senior designer here, Greg Hedelston. Great guy, truly authentic. I mean, on the theme of authenticity and everything like that. But Greg's going to be here and he's going to talk a little bit about what we're doing to make our players feel authentic in game. And so, explain a little bit what you do here at EA, and also, kind of some of the things you've been working in this authenticity space regarding Superstar X Factors.
Yeah, so to transition off of Mahomes and how we're making him authentic through the abilities that we have. We're also doing animations and how they throw and how they move, and paying off the authenticity outside of purely just the ability feature itself. So we have some footage that we've put together to kind of pay off everything.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
This is stuff that the community always wants to see. Like, so what do we got going on right here?
So right here, these are our motion capture athletes that we bring in to our studio up in Canada, in Vancouver, at the Capture Lab, and we have multiple athletes come in to do these throwing animations because we want to have as many takes as we can possibly get. This allows us to line people up. We can have them throw in different angles because you have your 90 and your 45-degree angle passing directions. So this enables us to get as many takes as we can possibly get to roll through, look through and see like, oh yeah, actor 2 like totally nailed it. We're going to order that one and let the other ones go away. Okay. So we're always finding ways to get as much variety and as much authenticity and accuracy to the motions that we're trying to capture with our athletes.
Got it. And I noticed that right here, it looks like we got a couple of these, right, that were being shown. It looks like they're on the Matrix or something like that. Can you explain to the audience what's going on right there? Yeah,
so this is our animation technology program we use in the studio here, and this is how we put together our animations for our gameplay. It also drives a lot of the logic behind what moves get picked based on the situation or what button you press on the controller. So right here with Mahomes, you saw earlier with the motion capture guys, we bring it into the game and we clean it up and get all the noise that comes out from motion capture with our animators here. And so for Mahomes' case, you see the kind of the kick out with his leg, that little baseball,
for sure.
Pitcher style, a little orthodox from what your prototypical quarterback is. But that kind of fits his kind of backyard personality of play, where he's just wide open, always looking to make plays, make exciting plays. So the more authenticity we can bring to how he plays on the field and how he walks on the field and throws the ball and his throwing on the run, his no-look dead-eye that Clint touched on earlier, where he's doing the no-look passes. Like, these are all things that help make Mahomes feel authentic and really pay off him being our cover athlete.
Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of see how these kind of play out in game. I don't know. To me, Rodgers is another guy that I really enjoy kind of seeing just his mannerisms in game. I know we have some footage right here of Aaron Rodgers. Go ahead and walk us through this real quick.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We line all our different guys up, and we kind of we show them videos of Aaron. And we're, obviously you see the kind of the kick hip twist on there, and a little bit of the wrist breakage after they throw the ball. That's all part of following his mannerisms, his little hop steps as he runs and throws on the run. These are all kind of consistent mannerisms that we've seen looking at NFL film. And so we try to bring these into the studio, and we have our athletes look at them, and then we just take as many takes as we can get to try to nail it as much as we possibly can.
So the mocap, how long does that typically take, and where is it done?
So we do usually multiple days of a shoot, or like about a week. We'll go up to Vancouver, our EA studio up there, where we make FIFA and all the other NHL and that. And there's a capture lab up there that's got a giant volume that we have that we can run 40-yard dashes. We can set up field goal block plays. We can have guys throwing footballs, 40 yards down the field into nets. It's a really great volume that we've continued to iterate on with that group, and it's really enabled us to build better content that we capture for our motion capture and our locomotion and passing animations.
Great. Well, that's crazy. I know one of the things that I was always curious about is because you have to do the mocap first, and then you got to do the ant. So it takes some time to get it in the game. How long does it take to do the ant?
Once we get the animations back and hooked up, it's usually within a day or so. We can get through and work with an engineer and make sure that there's a game state that fits where these animations need to play. Like in this instance, the stuff that we've shown here, these are the passes. So in our logic, when you hit whatever pass icon you want to throw to, we'll go to the bank of the animations that we've cleaned up for that player, and we tag them to a specific player so that nobody else gets them. Cool. And then we basically triangulate where you're going to throw, and we pick the animation that's going to fit that throwing angle.
Yeah. So another person that's very iconic in our game is Drew Brees. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick here at Drew. What do we got going on here?
So Drew's got the kind of the classic, compact throwing. He's doing the adjusting his gear, licking his fingers, all the Dan Marino age and all that stuff too. Kind of the old guys like licking the football, which just seems disgusting to me. But yeah, it's a way for us to continue to pay off these X Factor athletes in our game. And also, provide more authenticity for people that are fans of that team specifically. So if you're a big Saints fan and you're seeing Rodgers and Drew and Mahomes throwing like you see them throw on TV, there's an attachment level that you get and a satisfaction level that we're trying to bring with this.
That's awesome. So I know from from an authenticity perspective, we've done things in the celebration space. Is there anything different that's going to be happening kind of this year with celebrations?
Yeah, so each of the different athletes, we are trying to find all reference of their first down animations, their celebration dances that they do. So when you go in and pick your celebration type, if you pick signature, you'll play something that is authentic to that person's that we've seen in the past.
Okay. Good stuff. Anything else you kind of want to share with the audience before we bring back man of the people, Z Farrells? Hey. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, so to get back into the unique passes and the unique animations that we've done with that, we've standardized all of our passing animations inside of Madden right now. So what we've done is Rodgers is the fastest release quarterback in the game right now. Feeling something kind of you're used to when you throw a gunslinger on a person in MUT right now. Mm-hmm. So he's our fastest. He's our baseline for speed, and then it rolls out from there. So you have people like Baker Mayfield, people like Drew Brees. We also got authentic animations for Big Ben, Brady. We have some stuff for Phillip Rivers because he's got that kind of sidearm throw. So we'll have about half dozen or so quarterbacks that we've gotten authentic throwing animations for in the game, and the speeds of the quarterbacks throwing is based on what we're finding in our statistics and looking at film, and basically it's to help make these guys stand out more as these elite quarterbacks compared to somebody that may be second or third string on your team. You don't want them ripping off laser beams.
For sure.
So it adds that level of value to those guys being on your team in modes like franchise and then MUT, and also helps us to better broaden the way that the passing game feels inside of the game this year.
That's awesome. Well, cool, man. Well, Greg, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure we're going to have Greg back again to go ahead and do some of these broadcasts and be on MDD. Thank you again for coming in. We're going to bring Man of the People back out here and go ahead and walk through some things. So, stay tuned. Great stuff, Man of the People is back. That was pretty awesome. So it's great to have kind of Clint and Greg on the broadcast, kind of talking a little bit of what's going on with Superstar X Factor abilities, zone abilities, and also Superstar abilities. Really excited to go for the follow-up happening on 5/23, which is going to be great gameplay part 2.
You had one job. One job.
Was Cup there the whole time? Anyway,
keeping it culturally relevant. I'm not culturally relevant, but these guys are kind of keeping us on our toes. Thank you. I mean, Gibbs has one job, and I think that's payback. I think that's payback for all the times that we're teasing him on stream that he has one job. We actually had to hire an audio expert.
This guy, I'm just gonna let him keep going.
So
it's good. It's good.
So what's next?
Look, I mean, that's what this show's all about. It's about fun, having fun out there. We just got great information, and we had the development team. They're a huge part of this because we can't do these without their info.
For sure.
And it's awesome to hear their level of insight and detail. A couple things they pointed out that really resonated with me and things I want to read more about. So, number one thing, the blog is live right now. Part 1 of gameplay. So that is a 2-part blog. So you're going to get a lot more details on RPOs, playbooks in part 2, and also some of the things they alluded to. You'll read more about that on 523. There'll be another blog. But part 1 about Superstar X Factor and a few other extra bonus things at the bottom is out right now. So you can go check that out if you're tuning in late to this or you missed anything. Make sure you look at that. Being rooted in authenticity is a thing that comes up a lot. I think I saw a lot of feedback of like, it's going to feel too arcade or they're going to be on fire. I think they did a great job of letting you know like what you have to do to get in there, what those counters are, and from the feedback I've heard, that is the number one takeaway is like, wow, it is really rooted in authenticity. So I'm excited for that. The biggest change for me is something Greg kind of hinted at is like, because these players have either these abilities or these different throw speeds, each individual team, when you play a head-to-head Madden game, you're selecting, like if you take the Ravens, you're taking Lamar Jackson, and if you don't have a scheme that capitalizes on what he does, you're not going to have success.
Yeah.
If you have, it's just a pocket passer and a scrambler, like the teams feel completely different because of these new abilities. Mm-hmm. You got to go pick the ones who have the ones you need to get the job done. So, the Texans are out there. They're a very popular team. It's something we're going to explore a lot more, and you'll get to see at EA Play. But the way the teams now feel different because of these abilities is the biggest takeaway, at least for me.
Yeah.
A Madden amateur.
Yeah, and Hugh brought that up last week. We were talking about like players feeling authentic. One of the things we were having a side conversation. He said, teams are going to feel like they're teams. You got to really scheme and kind of play. Like when you pick up the Texans, it's going to feel like you're playing with the Texans, where if you play with like the Chiefs, it's going to feel like you're playing with the Chiefs. So I thought that was really great information and insight. You've been playing the game. Every time I'm around, I see you and Gibbs kind of labbing here, providing feedback to the developers, which is awesome. So, I know...
Survey. That's very important.
Survey is really important right now. It should be inside the chat. let us know how we're doing on these streams, things that we can improve upon. But not just that, but if you guys have questions, make sure to go ahead and leave them there. What we're going to do tomorrow on Madden Daily Drops, it's going to start at 10 a.m. tomorrow, because for a lot of the people that are in the stream are, you know, Mutt fans. We got Series 7 coming out tomorrow. We're going to tease that, but we're also going to be answering some of the questions from tonight's stream. And then what's great, and I really do appreciate it, is that the team has done a phenomenal job on making sure that some of these questions that we're seeing, we're sitting down with Greg, we're sitting down with Clint to kind of walk through and say, hey, these are some questions the community have. Can we get those updated as part of the community questions in the Gridiron Notes? So, you know, you'll see them out tonight, but then tune in tomorrow, roughly around 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll tweet it out from the main accounts to let you guys know they've been updated with some of the community questions. We had some great ones last week. I think we had like, we answered like 5 on stream, and then we had like another 8 or 9 that we answered in the Gridiron Notes, and here's some great feedback from the community that they appreciate not only the information, level of transparency, kind of coming back and kind of circling back.
I know one point of feedback they have, and if we could just you don't hear it. So that was, I know that was the number one thing. Worked really hard on that. So we're excited about that. But the survey, definitely fill that out. Gabby's putting it in the chat right now. We will tweet it out from maybe EA Craylo. If you reply, if you're able to take that survey, reply underneath to the EA Craylo tweet that says you took the survey, we can go ahead and maybe select a winner for a kahuna there. I'm also going to give you 3 other people chances to win kahunas here on Madden Daily Drops, and you can do that by tweeting at Clint Oldenburg a positive message, something you learned from the stream tonight, or something that, you know, you appreciate him coming out to spend his time.
Yeah, and even questions. I mean, even questions there.
Or ask a question to Clint on
and
Twitter.
if we find something there that we need to go ahead and kind of get it into the blog or something, do that for sure.
Yeah, so for an opportunity to win some items in Madden Ultimate Team, go ahead. We'll pick 3 winners. Either respond to Craylo's tweet to the survey, or tweet at Clint Oldenburg. Let him know you appreciate him. Let him know what you learned on the stream. Let him know a question you might have. And he won't have to reply, because we'll go to him tomorrow and we'll say, hey, Clint, we looked, we saw the questions people were asking. He may, but we'll put them in the Gridiron Notes that will come out tomorrow. So big key takeaways. More streams coming up. S. Gibbs, go ahead, drop the visual here so they can see future streams. Ultimate Teams next week. I know gameplay is a big part of Ultimate Team, so you had a little bit of gameplay this week. You got more gameplay part 2 the week after the Ultimate Team stream. And then you have the blog that's out right now. You'll have the blog that's out for Ultimate Team. You'll have the blog that's out for the gameplay deep dive for part 2. So you have a lot more news about Madden coming out. I know I've already seen a lot of great community members reacting to this stream. I've seen them sharing some of the stuff we showed. I thought the animation was really cool. There's a third step to that animation, which is seeing them actually, you know, finally in game. Sure. And that's something at EA Play. Like right now, we're telling you about what is coming to the game, and we're talking about it. Yeah. But we will be showing you in the future, and EA Play is going to be a moment where we'll be showing you more gameplay.
Take that survey and let us know who you want to see at EA Play.
Oh, so because the survey's interactive, so you'll actually be able to, one of the questions will say, what do you want to see more of at EA Play? It's the first question. It's a choice between some options, some of our and go and take that feedback and that advice. We had some great votes in the franchise one. They want to see a big, I think a draft moment perhaps is what won out there. Cool. We'll have to find that out and go and take that feedback and that advice. We had some great votes in the franchise one. They want to see a big, I think a draft moment perhaps is what won out there. Cool. We'll have to find that out. But
Series 7, Madden Ultimate Team, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about Series 7. We're going to answer some of the questions from tonight's stream, and then we'll make sure to update that blog. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is Craylo, and this is Man of the People, Z Farles. We'll talk to you next week.
S. Gibbs, one job, end the stream.